Good morning and welcome to the Paulding County Board of Commissioners December 13, 2016 work session. Welcome all our invited guests and elected officials. Let me look around the room and see who I see. I see Commissioner-elect Dave Carmichael. Thank you for being here. Am I missing anybody else? Teresa Lyons, Board of Education. I couldn't see it. Thank you. Thank you for being here. We'll remind you to turn off all your devices or lower them if you would. Marshall, you bring them. Sign it. Again, thank you all for being here for our invocation and our pledge with Pastor Jim Castle with Hearts on Fire. If you'll stand with me, if you're able.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You bow your heads. Dear Father, we just thank you that this is a day that you have made, and we just make a choice to rejoice and be glad in this day. Father, we just thank you that you're giving us wisdom, Father, as we go about the business of running the government here in Paulding County. Father, I thank you that each member, Father, of the commission, you're just speaking to their hearts and you're giving them wise counsel. Lord, I thank you they're surrounding themselves with godly people that can give them good counsel and help them to make wise decisions, Father, led by your Spirit. And Lord, we just honor you and we just thank you for that. And we thank you, Lord God, as we humble ourselves before you, that you are healing our land, Father. You're healing us and causing us, Father God, to walk in favor with you and with man. And so, Father, we just want to honor you this morning and give you glory in your mighty Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor, for the beautiful prayer. Minutes, the November 10th, 2016 work session minutes and the November 10th, 2016 board meeting minutes are available for your review. Board of Commissioners now would like to recognize our IT Director, Will Lyons, as Employee of the Year. Will, would you mind coming up and standing up here in the front, and Teresa and any other family with you? Heard a little bit about this at the State of the County, but if you would, and face the firing squad, thank you. Tell about you. Of course, as I said, Will is our IT Director and Employee of the Year. In May of this year, Will was named to the Georgia GMIS, Government Managed Information Sciences, Outstanding Professional of the Year. In September 2016, GMIS International Professional of the Year. Only 32 people have received this GMIS award for stellar recognition, international 45-year history. Established in 1971, GMIS International is the most inclusive government IT association worldwide. With over 500 member agencies representing city, county, state, K-12 agencies across America, public sector IT leaders in the United States, GMIS International maintains relationships with 7 international organizations, including Australia, Belgium, Canada, the Netherlands, New Zealand, Sweden, and United Kingdom. GMIS International Advisory Council co-chair Will was named this year. The mission of GMIS International is to provide a forum for public sector agencies to exchange information technology best practices that enhance the delivery of government services. He was also recently appointed to the Board of Directors of the Public Sector Chapter of Technology Association of Georgia, also known as TAG. TAG Public Sector, TPS, strives to connect Georgia technology community with the local and state government agencies to create an awareness of how information technology can be delivered more efficient government services to citizens and communities against the backdrop of limited resources. This is in addition to all the demands that are placed upon Will, and then, as I said, in the state of county, the delusional people that try to hack us and get into the system and firewalls that he has to do. In June of 2016, Will successfully provided Rockstar Count. I don't think this is singing and dancing, is it? And STEM Count, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Paulding County boys and girls ages 9 through 13 had an opportunity to learn coding skill as well as other professional skills while being introduced to a few career opportunities available to them. During this time, we were also given a chance to interact with some of today's most advanced electronic devices. Would y'all stand with me in honor of Will?
Smile, Will.
Will, would you like to say a word?
Remember, you got 5 minutes, Will.
We got to start the music at the end of this. We'll get off the stage. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I can't tell you what an honor that is for me to receive this recognition. I've been doing this quite some time. I think as far back as I can remember, if somebody needed to be notified, they found somebody who knew where you're at, they gave you a sheet of paper. We moved that up into the pagers. Then we thought we were somebody with Nextels, finally the Blackberries. And today, now everybody has smartphones, we're always connected, can't seem to get away. It's very exciting where technology is going to lead us in virtual reality, augmented reality. They've come a long way. We'll start seeing those things develop inside the private sector and soon into the public sector. We'll move on to holograms in the future, and it's just a very exciting time to be part of technology and part of the movement in the world. And it seems that anything is possible these days. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's quite an honor.
And Teresa, thank you for your service on the Board of Education. Thank you very much. I'm lost here without Will, and I'm lost at home without my grandchildren, as far as technology goes. At this time, we'd like to, Board of Commissioners would like to present the Public Safety Appreciation Award to Captain Chris Kendrick with the Paulman Fire. Chief, you got some things to say, and if you guys will come up and stand with him, it'd be an honor. Thank you. You're part of the fire department. Would you come on up? Right here, buddy, you got to face all this crap.
He didn't know he was gonna get this today. We knew he'd make up an excuse that he had an inspection or something.
You're right.
Good morning. I'm proud to introduce Captain Chris Kendrick as the recipient of the Public Safety Appreciation Award. Captain Kendrick came to us as a volunteer in 2001. He was selected as the top fire recruit in that class when he came through, and he hit the ground running from there. After a couple of years, he was hired as a career firefighter EMT in 2003. He worked and excelled in numerous fire stations throughout the county, responding to fire and rescue calls. While working these assignments, he was well liked and respected by his colleagues and supervisors. Chris became interested in the fire inspection field and was promoted to the Fire Inspection Division in 2008. Since this time, he's excelled in his job, and he's recently received his bachelor's degree in fire science. Today, he's responsible for scheduling and assisting with daily operations of the Inspection Division. The Inspection Division is responsible for ensuring commercial and multi-family dwellings and are designed that are built to be requirements for the FEMA and NFPA codes and life safety code. The job Captain Kendrick is tasked with requires for him to research the codes and apply the codes to the type of building being inspected. This includes working from the design phase, proposed construction, to existing buildings within the county that require annual inspections. Chris maintains a professional attitude and a positive attitude in the field when he's dealing with the public, which includes contractors, citizens, business owners, and other county and state agencies. The positive attitude shows when Chris is out in the field every day, and I receive a lot of calls thanking Chris for the job he does and how fair it is. It's tough being an inspector in the field because you're dealing with these business owners and these contractors, and of course money is everything to them, so you have to deal with them and try to give them options. And I've always told them to give options, and Chris always does. He always works well with them, keeping life safety in mind while he's doing that. So very proud of the job that Chris does. He's tasked with other duties in the fire department and emergency management division as well. He volunteers to assist with the training of new fire recruits and certified personnel when needed. When required, Captain Kendrick fills a role in the command staff during EMA operations and disasters. He is mainly tasked with operating the web EOC software for EMA activations. This is a web-based emergency operations center tool that can directly connect to GEMA when a disaster strikes. We're very proud of the job that Chris does. He's very proud, and like I said, we probably wouldn't have got him here today if we hadn't visited him because we had a meeting in the commissioner's meeting room. So Chris, thank you for everything you did. I'm very proud of you, proud to be working with you, and everybody up here respects you and thanks you for what you do. Thank you.
No, I'm good. Chief said that. More than enough. Thank you.
Chris said he'd rather sing, so.
No, I can't do that. That's why I work in the fire department.
Thank you, Chris, for your service.
Thank you.
I believe Ron Davis has an announcement he'd like to make about his town hall meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a point of information here. My quarterly town hall meeting for this quarter is going to be on Monday night, the 19th. It'll be at 7:30 in Stars and Strikes. We'll discuss what's been going on in the county for the last 3 months. I encourage y'all to be there. That's it. Stars and Strikes. That's it. 120 and 92. There on the corner.
Thank you all. No invited guest bid awards. Discuss action to authorize the chairman to enter into a contract with Bartow Paving for sidewalk and infrastructure improvements at various locations in unincorporated Paulding County in the amount of $231,424.70. This project will be funded by SPLOST. Well, we've got Scott up here. Y'all keep him in your prayers. He lost his stepfather last Thursday. Y'all remember we prayed for him at one of our last meetings because he had to leave that day. And unfortunately, he lost that battle, but you got to say some goodbyes.
Yes, thank you. It's overall it's very uplifting, and I appreciate everybody's support. Thank you. Well, we are pleased to bring some more improvements to the public. This initial bid award here is for improvements for pedestrians, and the 3 primary locations will be SPLOST funded. That includes a sidewalk extension from Shelton Elementary south to Cedar Crest Boulevard. That's right where the bus parking area is. It's kind of a dirt area where people have to travel along the shoulder of the road. Also, we will add a refuge island on Seven Hills Boulevard at Double Branches Lane to help with the pedestrian crossing there. And then lastly, as far as the pedestrian improvements, we have quadrants, 4 quadrants at Cedar Crest and Graves where we're going to be installing a traffic light, and we will be adding sidewalk around each corner as part of this project. There are a couple other operational improvements we would fund with general fund maintenance. That amount of that is $62,874 that actually would be funded with general fund out of this. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer.
Any questions for Scott? Just stay there. Year number 2, discuss action to authorize the chairman to enter into a contract with Baldwin Paving in the low bid amount of $7,070,877.28 for the construction of the Dallas-Hackworth Highway Bridge Replacement Projects over Possum Creek and Pickett's Mill. If you remember, these bridges were built in 1941. This project will be funded mainly by SPLOST. This project will be an additional funding source from the GDOT Local Maintenance Improvement Grant Program, which is also known as LMIG. $750,000 total. And Tabitha, you were part of a bid opening that we did with this project along with Scott.
Yes, sir. We had 5 participants, and they're recommending award to the low bid.
Thank you. Just a couple of other comments for you. Looking around this room, I hope not too many of you remember when these bridges were built. They're 77 years old, 1940. And if you were here before, then you probably remember World War II very well. So that says a lot for longevity if you're alive or if you're a bridge.
Well, he's been to California. It'll take a while to get this out of his system.
I didn't think it was funny.
He's been practicing that for 3 weeks.
No, I gave up on trying to crack jokes a long time ago. All right. These are 2 of our most efficient bridges. Once we replace these, the average age of our bridges in the county will go up quite a bit. I think the next oldest bridge is in the 60s. So this put us in pretty good condition. We're already above average as far as counties stand, I think. This will put us, once we replace these bridges, it'll put us well above average as far as overall bridge condition. So we're pleased to finally have this project out. We had very good bids. They were a little bit higher, about 8% higher than our original SPLOST estimate. Part of that, I think, is probably the cost of construction is going up a little bit. But with 5 bidders and the 2 lowest bidders being within just $30,000 apart, that's really amazing. We got some good tight bids. So we're very pleased with the pricing we have. And also I want to add that these bridges will be designed for 100 years instead of the more typical was 50 or 75 in the past. And with that being said, we probably will widen Dallas-Hackworth Highway in the next 20 or 30 years, if not sooner. So we went ahead and made these bridges wider. These bridges will be wide enough to accommodate a future 4-lane. That also allows us to stage our traffic on the same route we're building on. So we will not have to detour cars a long distance to due west in Highway 92. We will actually build these bridges half at a time. We'll widen to one side, build a new bridge, or 60% of the new bridge, take out the old bridge, and then complete the widening while we still have the equipment there. That's going to give us the best value while we have this area disrupted. It will also minimize the inconvenience for the public long term. So we put a lot of effort, and some of the cost is involved in that, but we ran the numbers, and a detour for several months would have cost our citizens quite a bit in additional fuel and time. It was very clear that we needed to really maintain the traffic along this route during construction. Baldwin Paving is a contractor we've worked successfully with in the past. We've done many projects with them. We're very comfortable that they can complete this work, and we're pleased to recommend approval.
You've also spent the last year meeting with landowners and homeowners on the area of both these two bridges, so.
It was a pretty involved process, and we are very appreciative of the owners that have worked with us very well to allow us to move forward with this project.
Any questions, Scott?
Just one, Scott, I appreciate the update here and moving forward with that. I've gotten a lot of calls and questions about that. I was wondering if we have an estimated completion date. I didn't see it in there, I could have overlooked it, but I didn't.
The time of construction is going to be 18 months, so summer after next, we should be wrapping this up. And
Okay.
that has a lot to do with the staging that we have to do to maintain traffic. If we had detoured all the traffic quite a ways, we probably could have sped up construction considerably, but we didn't want to, it's a balance, between
Yeah.
inconvenience and the time of construction.
Yeah, not detouring is the way to go. That's good.
That should save us emails and phone calls.
If you're not aware, those bridges are very rough and narrow, and quite, I'd say, less safe than most of our other bridges around the county. And trucks trying to pass on that bridge and cars even trying to pass on the bridge is pretty scary. We've had some claims as those old bridges settled, and we've actually had to repair them quite a bit. We've had complaints and claims about car damage. So we want to resolve that quickly, and we're glad to be in a position to do that now.
You have to admire the people that built them to withstand this long, so they were built to a very high standard when they were built. So.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Number 3, discuss action to award the purchase of bulletproof vests to the low bidder, Safety and Security International, in the amount of $575 each, not to exceed $60,000. That's about 100 to 104 vests.
That's correct. We were expecting by just under 100. A couple of months ago, the sheriff's office, I think they, Colonel Hunton can get more into this, but they have situations arise more and more often that require bulletproof vests and better equipment to keep those guys secure. So what this will do is outfit all of our officers with new vests and helmets. And he's got some information to give you that are, will explain what's different and what they're using now and what these will do for them. We've received a couple of bids, and the low bid was $575 for each one of these units. It includes the plates, the vest, and the helmet as well. And like I said, we'll purchase up to 100. I think it's just under 100 of those.
Well, if you've been following the news, in the last week, 6 officers have been shot in Georgia in last week. So we couldn't be buying these at a better time for them and their safety. Chad, you've got some information for us?
Yes, sir. I just wanted to kind of iterate what Tabitha was talking about, but this is not your standard vest that the deputies wear or a police officer wears on patrol on a daily basis. That's underneath the uniform shirt. This is actually a vest that goes over the top of that. The vest that the deputies wear on a daily basis is only designed to stop small arms fire, so pistols and shotgun. We've had, since May, we've had 3 encounters with people with rifles. One being an active shooter down off Pine Valley Drive in July. And the first responding deputies, this type of equipment will assist them in being able to respond more appropriately and give them the protection that they need in order to do so. You know, up until, I think it was 1997, when Columbine happened, the school shooting out in Colorado. And back then, the idea was when you had an active shooter was kind of surround the wagons and wait on SWAT or some type of specialized team to come in and handle the situation. Well, that right there changed everything. And we've been training we've always trained on an active shooter situation that the deputies don't have a choice, they have to go. And, you know, they're good to do that through the training that they've had. But this equipment will be able to assist them to help hopefully preserve their lives so that they can save lives. So I've got a couple of pictures here. The first one, the middle helmet is the helmet that we're looking at. It's called a mid-cut style helmet. Now, these helmets are level 2A and level 3A. It basically helps with shrapnel. Technology exists so that you can design a helmet that will stop a rifle round, but our cranial vaults will not handle the overpressure and that type of impact. So there's no sense in putting something that heavy on your head. So, but obviously, you know, this can help deflect rounds. It has been recorded that multiple times, if somebody's using a small caliber such as a 22 or even a 223, you know, people call them assault rifles, the AR-15 type rifles. Those rounds that helmet can cause that round to deflect and protect the deputy's head. This type of equipment is commonly used on tactical operations, which most of you know I am the SWAT commander. But allowing the deputies to have this equipment, like I said, if we have an active shooter type situation, it's going to be right there in their trunk. They're going to be able to throw it on and go, and they don't have to wait. The next here is different style plates with the company that we chose to go with. We'll be going with this, the second one called Shooter's Cut, and that allows a little bit more movement of the arms in front. So if they're having to punch out with their pistol, they're having to grab stuff, it just kind of, it's a little bit easier for them to move around with. These style plates, they're steel plates, and we have a 10-year warranty on these plates. That was the other reason I wanted to go with this company, is the warranty on the plates is 10 years versus the norm, which is 5. So the steel plate's a little bit heavier than other plates that are out there, but getting 10 years of life versus 5, no more than they'll wear it, I think is the best option for us. And then the last one is just a picture of the vest itself. Again, it's just a throw-over vest that they'll throw over the top of their daily uniform if they need it. Starting out with the purchases, we're wanting to outfit our field units, which will be our patrol division, our warrants division, and our school resource officer divisions. So that'll help us get a good start. So.
Any questions for Lieutenant Colonel? Great job.
Thank you for your time.
Just stay right there.
Yes, sir.
Reports from committees and departments. You wanted to talk to us about first responder active shooter kits. Is this part of this?
Yes, sir. This is actually, I've called it an active shooter kit. It includes when we did the bid, we bidded the helmets, the vest, and the plates that go in the vest. So. But that's actually it, everything I just talked about. I'm sorry.
And the weapons, the standard weapons you carry?
For the deputies right now, we're carrying the Glock 21 SF slim frame, which is a 45 caliber pistol. And then we do have a patrol rifle program where the deputies, once they receive the training, if we have one from the agency, they're issued an AR-15 style rifle with a 30 round, actually 3 30-round magazines with department-approved ammunition that we issue them as well. We do allow the deputies, if they have a rifle, if it meets certain specifications, we have it laid out in policy, that they can carry that rifle, their personal rifle, if they wish to, as long as they meet the specifications and meet the qualifications that are set forth. Also, standard issue is a 12 gauge shotgun, which is probably one of the best weapons in police work. So it's often forgotten, especially with this younger generation, but it's a good weapon. So. That's pretty much it, sir.
And your training facility, that's worked out well for you?
Yes, sir. The training facilities, it has been awesome. It has been a dream of many of us. That was one of my previous duty stations, was the training director from '04 to 2008, and that's one thing that we really needed, and it's helped us out tremendously. So,
Any questions? Thank you for your service.
yes, sir. Thank you. Yes, sir. We appreciate y'all.
Now we'll have Water System Director Lori Ashmore talk about level 2 drought response and updates.
Good morning, thank you.
One.
It's been about 2 months since I've given you a little update on the drought situation here in Paulding. I do have a copy of the latest drought monitor for the state of Georgia. And it's odd when it's raining outside and we're in here talking about drought. And a lot of people have thought, well, it started raining, so we're out of the drought response. And the answer is no. We are still in an exceptional and an extreme drought condition here in Paulding County. And this is as of last Tuesday, so after the rains that we had experienced over the previous 2 weeks. The situation has been improving regionally. We see from November 29th through December 6th a little bit of a lessening of the drought in the northern part of the state, and even getting out of that extreme drought condition in some of the southern metro counties. But the word is, and the projection moving forward is that we are still in a situation where the drought is projected to persist through this winter. And so we still have to be very careful with our water resources. And the word that we've tended to be using lately is we just need to act responsibly with our water. And that's not something we should be thinking about only in drought, but all the time. In November 17th, the state of Georgia EPD did a drought response declaration, and we were in the level 1 response area. That area went to level 2, and a number of other counties began into that level 1 drought response, which was primarily in education. So a level 2 drought response is geared at some water restrictions for irrigation. And it's a little different than what we've had in the past in terms of odd, even watering. So what we're talking about is the 4 to 10 restriction, but that it applies on a 2-day-a-week odd, even pattern. So even numbered addresses can water on Wednesday and Saturday before 10 a.m. or after 4 p.m. And then odd addresses on Sunday and Thursday, the same before 10 and after 4. There's not a whole lot of irrigation for landscaping going on this time of year. So what we're really saying is just use what your plants need at this time. When they're showing signs of distress and need water, that's the time to irrigate rather than being on that schedule that people tend to follow in the summer. People can still irrigate their personal food gardens. Anybody that may have fall or winter plantings. New and replanted seed is still exempt. Drip irrigation, soaker hose, hand watering, and these don't apply to people who have their own individual wells. What's not allowed, and I put the picture of the courthouse here because a couple of weeks in advance of the level 2 drought being declared, Mike Laird sent out an email about him turning off the fountain. And that is one of the things that's not allowed. Decorative fountains, water wheels, things like that are not allowed during level 2 or higher drought response. Washing streets, pressure washing, your non-commercial washing or pressure washing, washing your cars, charity and non-commercial fundraisers or car washes are not allowed under this level of drought response. There are also a list of 10 other actions that the state has that under a level 2 drought response, we have to pick 4. And you see 5 on our list because we're already working on 5 of those. And that's an increased public information campaign beyond what they initially require. We do a lot of public information outreach as part of the Metropolitan North Georgia Water Planning District, as well as through our own media outlets here in Paulding County. We've been working with the City of Dallas and the City of Hiram to get the message out. The fire department, the EMA, the extension service, our libraries actually are running some information on their monitors as well. So we're trying to reach people where they are. We continue to have available retrofit kits for our customers that have aerators, they have low water use shower heads, leak detection tablets, some water conservation hints, and other ways for people to improve their water use in their homes. And those are available in our customer service office. One of the passive things that we do is that we have tiered conservation rates for our residential water users. Essentially, the more you use, the more you pay for water. Essential uses, the typical home use is in that first and our lowest tier cost, with people who use much more water in those higher tiered rates. We've begun to reach out to our top tier water users and are identifying those customers who are still in tier 3, even as we're in this fall and winter period, to reach out to them, to just say, you might want to take a look. You may have a leak. You may have, if you don't see why you're using as much water as you're using, you may have a leak. You may want to look at conservation practices in your home, not only to save water, but also to save money. And then also the enforcement of water waste, so that we preserve that water for when we may need it in the spring should this drought persist. Some of the other conservation activities that I just wanted to mention to you are that we have a low-flow toilet rebate program, so that when plumbing fixtures are replaced in a home built prior to 1995 with a low water use toilet, that our customers are eligible for a $50 rebate on that toilet. And as we've been communicating by email over the last few months, we've been working aggressively to reduce the number of unrepaired leaks that are in our system. And the graph below on this slide really shows the impact of that over these last few months. We've dropped our number of unrepaired but reported leaks from over 85 to now we're under 30. And are continuing to work aggressively to bring that down even lower. And if you have any questions, that's all I have for you.
If you would, we're wrapping up, I understand the case. We're Florida City, Georgia. And can you give us a little bit of update on where you think we are with that?
You know, I have not seen, they rested their cases. It is in the hands of that special master at this point, waiting for Judge Lancaster's ruling on that. And that's really all I have that can be reported at this point.
When you know something, if you can bring that to us, that'd be fine.
We certainly will.
This time, I'd like to call on Terry Tibbetts, our director of the airport, for an update.
Good morning. I'm not going to take a lot of your time. We've had a lot of activities out at the airport over the past few months, few weeks, and I'm going to give a more complete update on that at our meeting next Wednesday. Invite everyone to come to that. That will be our year-end meeting. We did have a live demonstration of what the fire department and the Georgia Forestry Commission is capable of doing. We had a fire that got out behind Clear Creek, burned over 100 acres, came right up to the taxiway, and I was very impressed and proud of the way our county and the state firefighters worked that fire, stayed all night, a couple of nights, made sure everything was safe. We had no damage, nothing permanent was harmed, and no property was harmed at the airport, so we're appreciative of that. One of the duties that I have as the Executive Director of the Airport Authority is I need to communicate to you official resolutions and minutes that affect you, and what I've passed out to you is simply that. It's an official communication of a motion and a resolution that we have passed that we need read into your minutes just so it's communicated in a business-like way. At our August 17th, 2016 meeting, we approved a motion to return $559,198 to the Paulding County Board of Commissioners. That to be used to repay principal and interest on the Series 2013 $3.6 million bond issue. Said action to take place upon the maturity of the residual funds investment instrument on or around 15 September. So that has now all occurred, and we're waiting for the county to accept those funds and to pay down the principal and the interest on our outstanding bond debts. We urge you to do that promptly so that we can minimize the cost, interest cost in particular, to the Paulding County citizens. And as you know, that bond was to cover work that's been halted because of the court action concerning the 139 certificate. Those funds can't be used for anything else. So the proper thing to do is to return those and to save a little bit of money long-term on our interest involvement. The second resolution was passed on September 7th, 2016, and the Paulding County Airport Authority respectfully requests that the Paulding County Board of Commissioners honor Section 5, or Chapter 5, subparagraph H of the 2014 Intergovernmental Agreement by transferring that property referred to in the IGA to the Paulding County Airport Authority. And this is to minimize our risk of litigation from other tenants and customers at the airport. As you know, there are a lot of complicated issues surrounding this property, and we need to be seen as enforcing all of the contracts and the agreements that we have so that we're protected as best we can be legally going forward. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Tibbetts? Terry, thank you very much. Public participation on agenda item. We had one person sign up, Randy Thurman, 811 Pickett's Crossing. It says agenda item 1. I can't tell if this is old business or new business.
New business, sir.
Yes, if you'll come forward.
Yes, sir.
Got 5 minutes.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm Randy Thurman. I'm representing the Kroger Company for the alcohol on Sunday, vote, I would just like to say, to give you some information, in the 2 stores that are affected with Kroger, we do about $70 to $80 million a year here in Paulding County. 3 to 4 million of that is alcohol related. On Sundays is currently in the grocery business our busiest day. So it is our belief, our customers tell us over and over that they would like to be able to purchase alcohol on Sundays. And it is our belief that by not being able to provide this service, that we lose some revenue, as well as Paulding County loses some revenue with taxes and so forth. So what we would ask is if you would consider this, it's our belief it would be a help to our company, and it would be something that would be positive for the county. And that's really all I have. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you. Do you want to address that at this time, or do you want to wait till we get down to?
We can wait till we read it, but I'll explain what the ordinance says.
Okay, perfect. Consent agenda, discuss 4 consent agenda items. Number 1, appoint Juliana Anano to the Region 1 Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities Advisory Council, DBHDD, for a 3-year term of January 1, 2017 through December 31st, 2019. Number 2, appoint Dave Carmichael to the Northwest Georgia Regional Commission for a 4-year term of January 1, 2017 through December 31st, 2020. Number 3, approve a local supplement to the sheriff's pay calculation in the amount of $12,000. Number 4, appoint John Walton to the Paulding County Civil Service Board for a 4-year term of January 1, 2017 to December 31st, 2020. Would you like to move any of these to regular session? Hearing none, thank you very much. Under old business, number 1, action to approve the landfill tipping fee at $50 per ton and change the minimum tonnage allowed in the current $10 minimum to 400 pounds. This was tabled from November 10th, 2016 from our Board of Commissioners meeting. Any new action?
Discussion.
Any discussion? If not, new business item number 1, discuss action to adopt resolution 16-51, enacting ordinances to allow and govern package sales on Sunday by retailers of packaged malt beverages and wine.
All right, as I think all 5 of you know, we did have this on the ballot in November for this question, and the way that it was worded was, do we want to allow package sales on Sunday from 12:30 p.m. till 11:30 p.m. on Sundays. So I had a lot of questions about that later. That means just afternoon to just before midnight. So that's the hour. So what this ordinance does, it just inserts that into our existing ordinance as hours that sales are allowed. And so this is essentially the last step, because that was approved by more than 50% of the registered voters in the November election.
So if you are a retailer like Randy with Kroger or any of the other grocery stores that have in the county, there's nothing new you need to do. We just enact this, and then
It allows the sales to be on Sunday. It's just inserted into our existing ordinance. So I know that Kroger has a license already, so it just allows it underneath that license.
When does this go into effect?
Well, I'm assuming that you vote on it today. Today.
Today?
Could you read the time again?
So it's 12:30 p.m. on Sundays to 11:30 p.m. And so I got more questions about that than I got a single other question in the last 6 months. But it means just afternoon till just before midnight. It's just that it seems counterintuitive when you hear it that way.
any other questions? And we do, this is a work session we discussed in here now and voted at 2 o'clock.
Right.
Number 2, discuss action to adopt resolution 16-52, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of Paulding County, Georgia, for and on behalf of Paulding County, Georgia, with respect to the election on November 8, 2016, held to determine the issuance of or non-issuance of Paulding County of an amount not to exceed $77 million general obligation bonds to fund certain projects of Paulding County.
This is me too. So this is just a resolution that confirms that more than 50% of the voters voted to approve the issuance of bonds in the future, specifically for the purpose of building a detention facility for the sheriff's office. This does not mean that we're attempting to issue these bonds today. We're not at that stage yet. This strictly just is a resolution that says, here were the vote results. And it was more than 50%, so more than 50% of the voters did agree to issue the bonds, which will not, the next step that will occur for y'all is there'll be a bond validation, because you have to do that within 6 months of the vote, and then sometime after that, we'll issue bonds, but we're not to that stage. Tabitha can echo and nod to that. So that's all that this resolution does. It just confirms that it was passed.
Meeting with months in advance with Lieutenant Colonel Hutton and Sheriff Gulledge. We have a jail that's failing us at leaks. There are problems. There was a possibility that a federal judge could come in and say, you will do this, and you will do this at taxpayer expense. So we were probably, based on the type of jail that was built back years ago, we're probably 15 years beyond its useful life. So we've gotten all the good out of this building that can possibly be gotten. And it's something that's been on our minds for quite a while to do. Anything else, Colonel, you want to add to that?
Much we need a new facility. She's pretty rough.
Thank you very much.
David, I'd like just to reiterate my appreciation to the Sheriff's Department and to the Sheriff for putting that in front of the voters and insisting that it be done that way. And it's specifically, not just in public, but at a November election when high turnout was expected. I think that was the right thing to do, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Number 3, discuss action to adopt resolution 16-53, a resolution amending chapter 74 of the Paulding County Code of Ordinance regarding outdoor water use to provide for incorporating the drought response levels as required by the state of Georgia Drought Management Rule, water waste regulations of the Metropolitan North Georgia Water Planning District, and future provide for the enforcement of these provisions. Laura, you've already touched on this, and this has got yours and your name.
It does. So when she was doing her presentation on the drought response, one of the 5 items that we needed to do was to update our drought response ordinances and water waste ordinances and enforcement. So this resolution does that. We've incorporated essentially some model codes into the way that we'll be doing it, and this is just one of those steps that the county needs to take in order to be compliant with the drought response. I don't know if Laura, you want to add anything to that or not?
We do have the enforcement plan in the ordinance. And of course, with the first step being focused on education, not on penalties.
Right.
So that should someone be watering or be using water in violation of the ordinance, the first step would be to educate them about the requirements of any restrictions, and only penalties would be imposed after that.
From what I heard in the water wars, our response goes back for several years. In 2007, Governor Perdue put some methods into action that have actually helped us in our war against Florida, in water wars and our conservation. So this is very much needed and will help us with that.
No, this is, like I said, this is just one of the things that we need to do to update our ordinances to make them match what is now the drought management plan for Georgia.
Thank you. Number 4, discuss action to authorize the chairman to enter into an agreement in the amount of $63,000 with AOK Properties, Terra Boulevard LLC, to complete left turn lanes, entrance and improvements on Coach Bobby Dodd Road. That's county right away, and that's Scott Green.
Thank you. We became aware a development was pending at the corner of Bobby Dodd and Merchants Drive. It's actually a City of Dallas parcel. They desired access on Coach Bobby Dodd, but we let them know that there are issues with Bobby Dodd as far as the approach to the intersection. Needs to come down, needs to be flattened to make it safer. And then rather than have a developer try to tie into what we have there, we suggested that they work with us and let us put their driveway and turn lane improvements in our project. So it can all be done together, and it would save the potential cost of tearing out their improvements or vice versa. And then also just one work zone instead of at different times having to disturb that area. So what we have presented is an estimate as a pass-through to include their work in our work when we pursue this work early next year. And we think it's a good idea, and we recommend approval.
Any questions for Scott? I had the good fortune to travel to the DOT with a meeting that Nate Carmichael set up with Harold Lynn & Co. and Scott Green. And as we entered the DOT building, I've never seen so much respect for people in my life. David's 23 years on DOT. Scott's, how many years were you there? 14, and then the commissioner, Harold Lynn & Co. We could hardly get to our meeting for all the people wanting to stop and thank them for the job they've done and that type of thing. So we've got a team of folks here that are right on cue with Georgia DOT, and they have a huge respect for Scott Green, because if you notice, there's a lot of state projects that Scott ends up doing the management on, that they can't turn to those kind of places in other counties. And I see somebody smiling in the back, probably that makes all this happen, and Scott just gets a lot of accolades. We have such a great team, and it was an honor to go down with you and see the respect the state has for you guys. It was great.
Obviously, we have a great team. We're able to deliver sophisticated projects in Baldwin County as a metro county. And we appreciate the partnerships we have that allow us to do that. Thank you.
Just stay there. Number 5, discuss action to enter into right-of-way mowing and maintenance agreement with GDOT for project CSSTP 000700, parentheses 691.
This agreement is new to us as far as working with the state on an improvement that's coming soon. We have done a smaller agreement for the connector trail we constructed from our Veterans Park to Terra Drummond Park, where we planted the roadside and improved with a multi-use trail. So as you see, as you come to the campus here coming from Dallas along 278, it's a very nice walkable approach to our between our trail and the park here on campus. And kind of in that vein, as Georgia DOT begins widening Highway 92 next year from Douglas, out of Douglas County actually, all the way up to Nebo Road, we want to have a better feel and a gateway for the county than a concrete monolithic median extending for 5 miles from Douglas County up to Hiram. And on the Douglas end, Douglas County and the city of Douglasville have included features like landscaping and sod and plantings along some of the edges of the road. And we asked to do the same thing. That comes with it a responsibility because GDOT would just soon pave the medians with concrete and not have to worry about mowing them. But it becomes, after a time, it becomes ugly, frankly. Sort of like the area on between Briar Patch and the hospital. It's a big concrete median, and it's difficult to keep it looking good. If you like concrete, it's great, but not in my view. We need gateways to this county. We need to improve our economic development, the attractiveness of our county. And so what we're asking you to approve is a perpetual maintenance agreement. I believe it's actually 50 years and we would be required to provide the finish mowing and basic landscaping maintenance for the plantings that are going to be included in that project. This project's going to take 2.5, 3 years to be finished, so this is really affecting us in FY 2020 forward. It is a small increment to all the right-of-way maintenance we already do, maybe about 7%, $35,000 a year to keep this going, where we basically mow herbicide and trim occasionally, but we would mow on a cycle similar to what we're doing in our other parkway areas, like Bill Crew Parkway and Seven Hills Connector, like 2 weeks, every 2 weeks or so during the growing season. And I think it's really key to making our county attractive, and I hope you'll approve. I'd be glad to answer any questions you have.
Any questions for Scott? Thank you.
Thank you.
That's the conclusion of regular business session, no executive session, no one on the public participation signed in. I'd like to take the privilege here for a second, and this is my last meeting. I've always believed in term limits, so I applied it to myself. So it's been an honor and a privilege to serve you and to serve with you, especially you guys in uniform. And all my department heads and employees of the county. It's been a great ride these last 8 years. I think we've got a lot done. I've got a reservoir coming out of the ground and a brand new hospital and a lot of other things we've done. So I'm just grateful, and thank you for this honor to serve. And we will see you this afternoon at 2 o'clock. You were to say something?
Was I supposed to have brought up something about the landfill a while ago, or are you going to do that this evening?
I don't get to make that policy decision for you.
Did I make a mistake?
Not whether you made a mistake. You can bring it up this afternoon if that's what you decide to do policy-wise, but I can't make a policy decision for you.
Okay, I'll take care of that.
Okay.
And I do apologize.
Okay.
Okay, well, thank you all, and we will see you this afternoon at 2 o'clock.
You want a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn. Motion is second. We are having some cake and coffee this afternoon downstairs at 4 o'clock in the cafeteria, so if you want to come throw cake at me, it'll be there. All in favor, say aye. Aye.